A few things to note before the suppression video gets going in full. First off, as proper disclosure, this game was provided to me pre-release by PR representatives of THQ for review purposes. I reached out to them and asked for a code through terminals, and they obliged. Admittedly, this is a few weeks late, but life behind the scenes has been a little rough. I had to put down a beloved pet the other day, so focusing on work was difficult. Also, due to other things going on in my personal life, unlike previous impressions on my channel that are just reviews in disguise given I almost not only finish each game but platinum it, and yes, that is a humble brag, I do want to be straightforward off the bat and let you know that this video is an impressions piece through and through. I have not yet finished Desperados 3, but I've completed a majority of it and I'm comfortable enough sharing my honest views. Just in the name of transparency, I want to get that all on the table. But now with that out of the way, let's get on with the show. I can't stress enough how much I love this menu music. It's so good, you guys. I love westerns, and this wets my whistle. Desperados 3 is a prequel to Desperados Wanted Dead or Alive, a PC game from 2001, which is great as I've never played a Desperados game before, so I didn't feel out of my depth needing to be caught up on lore or characters. Although after playing this title, I may have to seek out the others and change that because this game is awesome. Consider me a new fan. The general gist here is that Desperados 3 is an isometric real-time tactics stealth game. That's a mouthful. And with its intricate enemy placement, each level feels like a well-developed puzzle with some immersive sim mechanics allows for a bevy of options on how to tackle any task. And trust me when I say, the enemy placement is intricate, maybe even borderline evil. I'm not going to kink shame, but with how difficult things can get, I think the devs might be into some S&M. Just saying. Kinks aside, every time I thought I had the perfect plan, off-screen would be just one more enemies within sight of what I was doing. At times it became a real headbanger on how to perfectly clear an area without being spotted. But with its trial and error gameplay mind you that enforces the idea of save scumming, I really got frustrated by failure. It was a genuine pleasure to seek out the best ways to empty an area of enemies. Adding to the enjoyment is that there's a lot of ways to complete each level, so it negated the repetitive feeling some other games might fall into. Throughout the course of play, the player takes on 5 different characters, and each character has their own set of skills and abilities. There is one character I won't spoil in this review at the request of the publisher, but let me just say she is awesome, and a very pleasant surprise given her skills are by far the best. She changes up gameplay in a way I hadn't expected, and it's almost like a character from the Dishonored series had been dropped into the middle of my game in the Wild West. But outside of She Who Must Not Be Named, the others are John Cooper, Kate O'Hara, Hector Mendoza, and Doc McCoy. Each one of them plays drastically different, both in movement and skills. The Doc, for instance, has a bum leg and moves slower, but he has a very powerful knockout gas grenade of sorts called a swamp gas vial and a bag that can be thrown to serve as a lure/distraction. Kate, on the other hand, can find a costume which allows her to walk around enemy encampments without being shot at, and she can walk up to guards and use her beauty to distract them, and in some cases, cause them to follow her a short distance where she can knock them out away from prying eyes. Hector, meanwhile, is a massive dude who not only moves fast, but can carry bodies with ease. He also has a whistle that lures guards to his location, where they can then unwittingly walk into a massive bear trap and die. It's gnarly stuff, I highly recommend it. It's while working in tandem that the characters really shine. There's also a great strategic element to it all, especially because of something called Showdown Mode. This is an ability that stops time and lets you swap between characters to plan out movements and actions. Upon activation, the characters will then make their predetermined movements, and it can be a sight to behold. I loved watching a meticulously planned set of moves all occur at once as enemies drop left and right without any alarm being triggered. Inside or outside of Showdown, it's a real blast to find ways to combine powers in the most effective manner possible. Even how one chooses to move bodies has an element of strategy. Hector, for example, will pick them up and stand, which can quickly give his location away, but the Doc, with his bum leg, can only drag them while hunched over, and even if he is in view of an enemy, if he's crouched and far enough away, he won't be spotted, so he is often my go-to character for moving bodies. Kate too, as she also has to drag them as well, probably for being a weak little woman. And trust me, you will hide a ton of bodies, but how you kill or knock them out will vary depending on what types of enemy it is, of which there's multiple different types, beginning with normal baddies that are easily distracted and killed. Then there's guards and ponchos. They're distracted for a lesser amount of time, and they won't move from their spot. Following them are longcoats, and these guys are rough. Only Hector can kill them with ease, and not only are they not easily distracted, but they can't be lured from their path via conventional means. There's also dogs, and they can see through Kate's disguise, and they will discover the player via scent if one appears within their vision cone, even if hidden. Speaking of vision cones, the way these work are that if an enemy spots you, it fills yellow, and if that yellow touches the player, you've been spotted and an alarm will sound. The alarm sends out multiple new enemies to hunt you down, while the others already on the map will chase you, shoot you, or hunt you should you manage to escape and hide. Vision cones originally appear green, and they can have dark striped areas, and these areas mean you can crouch through them without being detected. That's where Cater Doc's aforementioned body dragging became ultra useful. It should be stressed that this is a stealth game, and with limited ammo and skill cooldowns, including on guns and knives, extended combat sequences will not be survived, so keeping up on how to elude guards and hide bodies is a must. Allowing the player to be elusive is a range of tool sets that allow for various means of distraction. These tools will cause guards' vision cones to focus elsewhere, allowing for a brief moment of easier movement through a dangerous area. One way to do this is to throw a coin, an ability limited to John Cooper, but each character has other means as well. With a combination of elements, what really stands out in this game is its level design. It may not seem deep or intricate at face value, but with the way enemies are layered, there is a sense that everything was meticulously thought out, and the game really excels in that department. Graphically, nothing looks too spectacular. It's really not a great looking game, but it doesn't need to be. The game has phenomenal gameplay, and the stealth and puzzle elements of it are definitely worth experiencing. As the game progresses, a few new elements are added in that provide even more challenge. There's water which makes noise, mud that leaves footprints, lights that can be snuffed out, and stuff of that sort. There is even environmental kills that can be set up, and if used properly, they can really shift the tide. It felt great to take a long coat out that way. Even the way the game handles noise I really appreciated. Each character, depending on their action, has a blue circle of varying size, and any enemy in the circle will be alerted to the noise, so it takes careful planning to pull something off. Say I want to shoot someone with John, but his blue circle envelopes multiple enemies. Now I need to plan out how to take them out, but off in the distance is yet another enemy who can see what's going on, and it becomes a real problem to fully execute what may at first seem like a simple task. Adding yet even more challenge to the game are varying difficulty levels that get incredibly difficult and damn near impossible the higher one goes. The highest is Desperado mode, and holy fuck is it hard. Like, oh my fucking god. It ramps up the enemy count, detection speed, save process, and it even changes how Showdown mode works. It's a pleasant kind of challenge, but fucking hard nonetheless. Be prepared to get your ass kicked in. Adding more on top of that are badges within each level, which are minor extra tasks to be completed, and then something called the Barons challenges, which offer replayability to each level by mixing things up. The game has 16 missions spread across 3 chapters, to which I completed 12 of them so far, and they begin to get really long. Some of the later levels took me upwards of 2 or 3 hours. One neat thing though is at the end of each level a little clip plays that shows you a simplified map of everything you did, and it's fun to watch. I was really anal about killing every guard and hiding every body, so I appreciated seeing how it all went down. The title also does have a story with cutscenes and all, but I never got too invested in it. The voice acting is fine and it does what it needs to, but I just didn't care for the plot. Some of the conversations were good and their interactions between characters are fine, I just never got invested in what was going down. The cutscenes are also kind of ugly, but given what this game is, I can't really knock it for that. It's a title I'm playing for great isometric stealth. It did what it needed to do. As a whole, if you already can't tell, I really like this game. Because I haven't finished it, I'm not going to give it a score, but I do recommend playing it, at least if you're into this type of game. Granted, I haven't played something quite like this before, and it hooked me, so I suppose it's worth checking out if you've never tried it either. A good game is good.